Let me ask you something. How many people do you know who have said at some point in their life, I want to start my own business? Probably a lot. Maybe you've said it yourself. Now, how many of those people actually did it? And of those who tried, how many are still going today? The gap between those two numbers, that's what this series is about. Because here's the truth most people won't tell you. The reason most businesses fail or never even get started has nothing to do with money, timing, or luck. It starts with a fundamental misunderstanding of what a business actually is. And that's exactly what we're going to fix today in this very first episode. Welcome to the How to Start a Business series, a no fluff, straight to the point guide to building something real. By the end of this episode, you're going to see business in a completely different way. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the most basic question there is. What is a business? If you ask 10 people that question on the street, most of them would say something like, a business is a company that sells things. Or maybe it's when you work for yourself. Or even it's a shop or a service or a brand. And they're not wrong, but they're only describing what a business looks like on the outside. They're not describing what it actually is. Here's a definition I want you to hold on to. A business is a system that creates and delivers value to a specific group of people consistently in exchange for money. Let's break that down word by word because every single part of that sentence matters. First, a system, not a person, not a talent, a system. This is where most people get confused, and we'll come back to this in a moment. Second, creates and delivers value. A business doesn't just exist, it does something useful for someone. It solves a problem, saves time, provides pleasure, removes pain, or satisfies a need. If it doesn't do any of that, it is not a business. It's just an activity. Third, to a specific group of people. Notice I didn't say everyone. One of the biggest mistakes new entrepreneurs make is trying to serve everybody. A business that tries to serve everyone ends up serving no one well. The sharper your focus, the stronger your business. Fourth, consistently. This is the word that separates a real business from a lucky streak. Selling something once is not a business. It has to happen again and again, reliably, predictably. And fifth, in exchange for money. A charity does good, a hobby brings joy. A business does both and gets paid for it. If money isn't coming in, it's not a business. It's a passion project, and passion projects don't pay your rent. Here is a real life example. Think about a woman in your neighborhood who makes rice and sells it to people at work. On the surface, she has a food business, but look closer. Does she have a fixed menu, or does she make whatever she feels like? Does people know when and how to order from her, or is it random? Does she track her costs so she knows if she's actually making a profit? If the answer to most of those questions is no, she has a cooking activity, not a business. The moment she creates a system, fixed days, a clear ordering process, consistent quality, and proper pricing, that same pot of rice becomes a real business. Now, here's the really important part. The word I want you to focus on again is system. Most people think a business is built around a person. They think, I'm good at hair. I'll open a salon, or I can cook. I'll start a food business. And that's not wrong as a starting point. But if the entire business depends on you being there, doing everything yourself every single day, that's not really a business. That's a job you gave yourself. A true business can function without you being present every minute. It has processes, it has structure. Other people or tools can carry parts of it. That's what makes it scalable. That's what gives you freedom. Think about McDonald's. The food is not exceptional. If you're honest, the homemade food your mom makes at home is better than anything you'll find at a fast food chain. But McDonald's is worth billions of dollars. Why? Because they didn't build a restaurant, they built a system. The same burger, made the same way, in the same amount of time, in over 100 countries, by teenagers who just started working there. That's the power of a system. The food is almost irrelevant. The system is everything. So I want you to start thinking this way from day one. You are not just building a product or a service. You are building a machine that finds customers, serves them well, collects money, and keeps running, whether you're there or not. That's what a business really is. Now that we know what a business actually is, Let's talk about the three things people often confuse it with: a job, a side hustle, and a real business. These are not the same thing at all. And understanding the difference will change how you may make decisions from this point forward. Let's start with a job. A job is simple. Someone else created a system and they're paying you to operate inside it. You show up, you do the work, you get paid. The moment you stop showing up, the money stops too. You are selling your time. And time is the one thing you can never get back. There is nothing wrong with having a job. A job can be dignified, fulfilling, and secure, but it has a ceiling. Your income is limited by how many hours you can work. And the business, the real one, belongs to whoever created the system, not you. Now let's talk about a side hustle. A side hustle is when you start doing extra work on top of your job or instead of a job to make extra money. Maybe you're designing logos on weekends. Maybe you're driving for a ride hailing app after work. Maybe you're selling clothes online. A side hustle is better than a job in one important way: you're in control. You decide when to work and what to charge. That's real, that matters. But here's the honest truth about most side hustles: they're just another job, one you created for yourself. If you stop working, the money stops. If you get sick for 2 weeks, you earn nothing. If you want to go on holiday, you lose income. Imagine someone who braids hair from home. She's booked every Saturday. She's making money, but she's doing every single braid herself. She buys the supplies, she handles the bookings, she does the work. If she stops showing up, everything stops. That's a side hustle, maybe even a very profitable one, but it is not yet a business. It's self employment with hustle. A real business is different. A real business is when the system starts working for you, not the other way around. With a real business, you might still be very involved, especially at the beginning, but you're building something that doesn't completely depend on you doing every single task. You have customers who come back on their own. You have a process that delivers consistent results. You have something that can grow beyond your own two hands. Now imagine that same hair braider, but 2 years later, she's trained two other stylists. She rents a small shop. Customers book online through her Instagram page. She handles quality control and marketing. Some days, she's not even braiding hair herself. She's running the business. Her income no longer depends on how many heads she personally touches in a day. That's the shift from side hustle to real business. The key question to ask yourself: if I took 2 weeks off, would this thing still generate money? If the answer is no, you have a hustle, not a business. Yet. I want to be clear about something. There is no shame in starting as a side hustle. In fact, most great businesses started that way. The problem isn't where you start. The problem is when you stay there forever without intentionally trying to build the system. The goal of this series is to help you close that gap, to take whatever idea or activity you have and give it the structure it needs to become something real, something sustainable, and eventually something that gives you your time back. Here's something uncomfortable that we need to talk about. Most people who want to start a business never do. And of those who start, most quit before they ever find out if their idea could have worked. And the reasons almost never have anything to do with money, the economy, bad luck, or the government. The failure happens in the mind, long before the business is even born. Let me walk you through the four most common ways this happens. Reason one: waiting for the perfect idea. A lot of people are sitting at home right now, waiting for the one big idea that's never been done before. Something revolutionary, something unique, something guaranteed to work. Here's the hard truth: that idea isn't coming. And even if it did, it wouldn't save you. Most successful businesses are not unique ideas. They are better, more consistent, or more convenient versions of something that already exists. Facebook was not the first social network. Google was not the first search engine. Uber was not the first taxi service. They were better, more convenient, more scalable versions of something people already needed. The idea wasn't new, the execution was. Stop waiting for the unique idea. Start asking, what problem do people around me have that I can solve better than what's currently available? Reason two: overthinking instead of starting. This one is very common, especially among educated, analytical people. They spend months, sometimes years, planning, researching, writing business plans, building spreadsheets, designing logos, perfecting the website before they have a single paying customer. All of that preparation feels productive. It looks like action, but it is not action. It is expensive procrastination dressed up in a suit. The market will teach you things no business plan ever will. You learn what customers actually want by talking to them, testing on them, and adjusting based on what they do, not what they say they'll do. Airbnb started as two guys who couldn't afford rent, so they put air mattresses in their apartment and rented them to conference attendees. No grand plan, no investor pitch deck. They solved a small, immediate problem to make a little money. That tiny test turned into a company now valued at over $70 billion. They didn't plan their way to success. They started, learned, and adjusted. Start small. Start messy if you have to. But start. Reason three, fear of what people will say. This one is real, and it's painful, so I won't pretend it isn't. Many people, particularly in our culture, are terrified of failing publicly. What will my family think? What if it doesn't work and everyone sees? What if they laugh at me? And so they never try. They keep the idea safely inside their head where no one can judge it and nothing can kill it, but also where it can never grow. Here's what I want you to consider: the people who are afraid of your failure are not going to pay your bills. The people who will judge you if you try and fail are the same people who have also never tried. Their opinion costs you nothing and should count for nothing. Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC, was 65 years old when he started pitching his fried chicken recipe to restaurants. He was rejected over 1,000 times. 1,000. He had no money, was living out of his car for a while, and kept going. That recipe became one of the most recognized brands on earth. He did not let other people's silence, doubt, or rejection write the end of his story. Neither should you. Reason 4: misunderstanding what having capital means. Ask someone why they haven't started their business, and a huge percentage will say, I don't have money. And sometimes that's true. But more often, what they mean is, I don't have enough money to do it the way I imagined. Most successful businesses started with very little money because money is not the primary ingredient. The primary ingredient is a customer with a problem and you with a solution. You don't need a shop before you start selling. You don't need a registered company before you have your first client. You don't need a logo before you have a product. Think about the many tailors, caterers, and phone repairers who started with one sewing machine, one set of pots, or borrowed tools. They didn't wait for funding. They used what they had to get their first customer and used that first customer's money to get the second. That's how most real businesses actually start. The business doesn't fail because you don't have money. It fails because you don't have a paying customer. Those are two very different problems, and only one of them actually needs to be solved first. So now you know what a business really is. You understand the difference between a job, a hustle, and a real business. And you know the four mental traps that stop most people before they ever get started. This series is going to take you further. Episode by episode, we're going to build the full foundation. Not theory for theory's sake, but practical knowledge you can apply immediately, regardless of where you're starting from. Here's a taste of what's ahead. We're going to talk about how to find the right business idea, one that matches your skills, your market, and the reality of what people will actually pay for. Not what you think people want, what the evidence shows they want. We're going to talk about customers, how to find them, how to understand them at a deep level, and how to build something so well suited to their needs that selling feels almost effortless. We're going to talk about money, not just how to make it, but how to track it, manage it, and use it to grow rather than leaking it through holes you didn't even know were there. We're going to talk about operations, how to build those systems we mentioned. So your business stops depending entirely on you and starts running more like a machine. We're going to talk about marketing and sales, not in a complicated, jargon heavy way, but in a way that makes sense for real people running real businesses in the real world. And we're going to talk about the mindset it actually takes to keep going when things get hard, because they will get hard. That's not pessimism. That's just the truth about building anything worth having. This is not a get rich quick series. I'm not going to tell you that you can make $1 million in 30 days or that there's some secret that successful people are hiding from you. Those are lies designed to take your money. What I will tell you is this: building a business is one of the most empowering things a human being can do. It teaches you about yourself, about people, about the world, and about what you're actually capable of. Done right, it can give you income, independence, and impact that a job simply cannot offer. But it requires clarity, it requires honesty, it requires consistent effort. And it starts with understanding, really understanding what you're building and why. You've just taken the first step. All right, that is a wrap on episode 1. Here's your homework before the next episode. I want you to write down, with full honesty, what you're currently doing. Is it a job? A side hustle? Is it already starting to look like a business? And if it's a job or a hustle, what would have to change for it to become a real business? Don't overthink it. Just be honest with yourself. That clarity is more valuable than any course, any book, or any advice anyone can give you. If this video was useful to you, share it with someone who's been saying they want to start a business. Sometimes all a person needs is someone to explain it plainly. And maybe this was that for someone you know. Episode 2 drops next week. We're going to talk about how to find the right business idea, and we're going to do it in a way that will completely change how you think about opportunity. I'll see you there. Take care of yourself and take care of that idea.